Hi guys, it's Brittany. So today's gonna be a popcorn chat video, which is a movie discussion video. So today we'll be discussing on The Ghost in the Darkness. So it was released on October 11th, 1996, directed by Stephen Hopkins, written by William Goldman, and the music composed by Jerry Goldsmith. And honestly, I feel like this is such a very underrated film because I feel like it doesn't get talked about as much or given enough credit to how well this movie was done. And I actually grew up watching this movie quite young, believe it or not. And I have mentioned it in my other videos on the movie facts and movie review, so go check that out. And I would say I was very impressed, how well they did this movie because it is based on a true story, on true events that really did happen back in 1898. And it's just very bizarre, of what really happened. Like, it's almost hard to believe, that of what really happened, but it actually did. And so they, you know, made it into a movie. But I think the very first movie they did on this story was long ago, so I would have to look that up. But so I believe it was the writer that went out to Africa in the late 80s, and so when he had heard about this story, he thought it would make into a good movie. So of course, eventually, when they, you know, were working on this, and I pretty much, they had to write it and everything and put it into a script, it just pretty much all come together. And so yeah, like I said, they really did really well with this movie. And honestly, now they did use real lions, but I think there are some scenes where you do see the real lions, like maybe walking around, or maybe one that had to jump, off from the roof. So yeah, there are some scenes where they did use real lions, but no wait, actually I have it all wrong. Actually, most of the scenes you do see the real lions, but only in one scene. In one scene they had to use an animatronic lion. So now I don't know what scene that is exactly. I have no idea. It could be where, I don't know. That's another thing. I don't know what that scene is exactly where they had to use the animatronic lion. I don't know. I can't even tell. Um, so I would say the director did a good job directing this movie because it just really brings in into play, with telling the story, and we're, just showing like what happened and everything. Now, of course, there are some parts of the movie itself where it is accurate to the actual events, but some parts are a bit more dramatized, fictionalized, for of course for entertainment for the movie, for the audiences. But nonetheless, the director did such a really great job directing this movie. But I think I've heard somewhere, I can't be too sure if it was him that said this or the writer or something, but I think it was the director that said that after the movie was done, and I think after the release, I think he said he couldn't bring himself to watch it because it didn't turn out the way he thought it would. So I think he probably hoped that the movie would have turned out maybe, more better. So I think he couldn't really bring himself to really watch it because he was hoping that somehow would have turned out better than it originally did. Now, I understand if he feels that way, but I still think he did a good job. So I'm still giving him credit for how he directed the movie, because I still think it's just a really good movie, and it's just very underrated, and it doesn't get talked about enough, doesn't get even enough credit, you know. So, I'm just putting it out there. So if the director's watching, yeah, just letting you know. Um, I still think you did a good job, and even if you had hoped it had turned out better, I still think it turned out really good. So I'm just saying. And with the writer, William Goldman, I would say he did well, writing the script and how it turned out and everything. That did turn out really good. But now I do remember him, having an issue with something. Now, if you want to know about that part, I believe I mentioned it in my fact video, because there was an issue he had, although I don't agree with him completely on that particular issue. So if you want to know exactly what that is, you can watch the movie fact on that. For that. Gotta stop saying that. There it goes again. I'm sorry. I need some coffee. I'm sorry. So, but yeah, even though I probably don't exactly agree with the issue he had, but then again, he still did a good job with writing the script himself, because I still think that everything else is, really good. And I think it's just one of those movies that no one really recognizes as much, and it's true though. It's true. And for a movie that I think is still really good and just needs like more credit and deserves more recognition for its work and for everything, that was put in together. I squeaked. I don't know why. I think I'm losing my voice or something. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I really think it really deserves more recognition, because I feel like hardly anyone knows about it. And for those who do, then I'm glad that they do notice it and who watch it and like it. And even for those who don't like it, that's okay, because this movie's not for everyone, and it just goes for any other movie. Like, not every single movie's gonna be for everyone, if you know what I mean. Like, okay, this might be a little off topic, but for example, like Jurassic Park. Now, pretty much everyone I know loves that movie, but there might be some people where maybe that movie isn't just for them. It's not their cup of tea. Same thing with Batman Forever. Like, I absolutely love it, but that movie isn't for everyone. It's not their cup of tea or their cup of coffee. Although it's mine, personally, it is. But it's not for everyone. But all I'm saying, it just goes for every movie. That's pretty much all I'm saying about that. But yes, I did grow up watching it quite young, very little. And even though there are some parts that did scare me, it didn't exactly traumatize me. And it didn't really change my perspective on lions themselves because I still love animals. So, but the way I see it, it was more like, okay, this is nothing like The Lion King. You know, it's completely different. And the way I saw it is that those lions were worse than Scar. So that's how I saw it. And with the music composer Jerry Goldsmith, he did an amazing job with composing the music for the movie, although unfortunately he passed away in 2004, and it's just so sad. But yet, um, I do think I have heard his other work in other movies, and he's he's just also really, he was a great, music composer who did a lot of, music for TV shows and movies that he did, for the music for those other, shows and movies. So I think that's great, and I think he did such a great job with the music on this movie because you get those parts where um not exactly cheerful. No, that's the wrong word for that. But you know how there are some parts where it seems like everything's going fine, but then of course when it comes to those really intense parts, even scary parts, the music itself is just has this very intense, ominous tone to it where you just feel like, oh no, this isn't good, and what's going on. But even just hearing the music along with those scenes, you probably feel even more like, oh no, like, and you just feel terrible of what's going on. So the music really adds to the intensity of those scenes of the movie, and it just really adds to this ominous tone and feel towards it. Very like scary and dark too because of what was going on and how the lion's behaviors, both of them, how it was just it just seemed, very evil. It just seemed like they were completely soulless, and that's how I see it. And then, of course, the cast is great. I love both Val Kilmer's and Michael Douglas's performance. I just really love their performance, and it's just very convincing, entertaining, and just really great to watch because they're both amazing actors. And I also grew up watching their movies as well, although I would say I think with Val Kilmer I probably watched at least several of his movies. And with Michael Douglas, I think at the time it was only two, which is this one and The Game. Although with that one, I think I was a little confused of what was going on because I couldn't understand what was going on. But then by the end of it, I was like, wait, so it was all an act? So it was kind of confusing. But of course, as I got older, I understood it a bit more. So yeah, I think this one was actually maybe the very first movie I grew up watching, with Michael Douglas, and then after that was The Game, but then of course afterwards, even as a teen, I was watching, I would say, a little bit more of his movies. So yeah, So that is true. Okay, I'm trying to look up on something here on the music score. So hang on. But come on. Um, okay. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to look. Um, yeah, I remember reading something about the music score, and I don't think it's on here. I don't think it's on Wikipedia. I think it's on IMDb. So hold that thought. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. So somehow I couldn't find that fact about the music. Now, like I said, Jerry Goldsmith, he did such a great job composing the music, and of course, you can both hear um, two different types of music and instruments in the movie. Um, it's kind of hard to explain. Like, there's some parts where you hear Irish music, and there's some where you hear African music as well. So that I was trying to look up on that fact because it had a little bit more detail to it, but somehow I couldn't quite find that, which is very strange that I couldn't find it. But yes, I love their performances because, like I said, they did very well. So I think they really did worked very well together. And so yeah, as you know, that Val Kilmer plays the real um, character. He plays the real life person on John Patterson, and Michael Douglas. He plays a completely fictional character. Is not based on a real life person, but nonetheless, still a great character, even though it's a fictional character. But yeah, they both did really great, and their performances are just, like I said, just very convincing and just amazing to watch. And so, it is, and you should watch it because I do recommend it. And if you haven't seen it, then yes, you should go watch it. And I do have it though on DVD. But yes, this is just a really good movie, and I think it doesn't even get noticed as much. It's like I've been saying that it just doesn't. And I don't understand why, because I grew up with this movie. Me and my sister both did, so, you know, to us, it's like, you know, we notice it, we recognize for how good the movie is, but yet there's other people who probably don't know about it, and it's just not really taking like any notice of it, any recognition, and it's just like, what? To me, that's hard to believe. It is because when you think about it, you have these two really great actors in this movie, and they work so well together, and yet Val Kilmer, he's known for his other movies, of his roles. Like, he's known for Doc Holliday and Tombstone, which I love Tombstone. And he's known for his other roles, like Jim Morrison and The Doors, and what else? But he's known for his other roles that he has did. So, and of course, people do recognize those roles and those particular movies that he did. Same thing with Michael Douglas. Like, he's known for his other roles in movies as well, and yet people recognize those because they're familiar with it, and so they take notice of it because they recognize it. But I feel like these two did work together for the first time in this movie, so it's like, and this one just hasn't really been taken notice at all or recognized. Like, for all the work that was put into it, both on screen and off screen, like, that's just hard to believe. At least for me, it is. But yes, you guys should really check out this movie. And yes, that is the movie discussion on it. And so, of course, there are parts that I liked, and there's, really intense parts. And there's just parts where you see it happening, and it's just, ugh, it's just terrible to see. But I would say, of course, even with those parts, when the lions are attacking and killing people, I don't like those parts. And of course, it makes it very intense. And of course, with the music and everything, and the performances, which everything was done so well. And this was just done really great. It was. But I don't like those scenes. And I don't like, there's just some other things I don't like. Like I said, it's only those parts where it gets scary and it's like, oh gosh, like, this is horrible, you know. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much for this discussion. But yeah, before I leave, I will say that I do enjoy this movie. I like to watch it, and like, it just doesn't get old. So I do recommend it for anyone who wants to watch it. But I will say that recently, what was it? I think it was last month. Yeah, I think this was early in September that I actually had a dream about one of the scenes from The Ghost in the Darkness. And now, I'm not going to mention the whole dream, I'm going to mention it when I do a video on it, but I had a dream about a particular scene where a character dies. Because, yeah, one of the characters, of course, does die, like, towards the end, but you don't see it on screen. It happens off screen during the nightmare scene. And for those who know that scene that I'm talking about, yes, I had that dream, although this was like an alternate scene where it didn't exactly happen that way, but something else happened. So now, of course, for me to really talk about the dream in detail, I'm not going to do it now. I'm going to wait until I do that Dreamtime video on that dream. So, yeah. And when I do upload it, be sure to look out for that. Oh, I'm sorry. So anyway, yeah, and yeah, like this, somehow I had a dream about that. And sometimes I do get that though. I do get where, like, let's say if there is something if I didn't like of what happened in a movie, but then somehow I'll dream about it. Like, I'll dream that particular scene and somehow it'll turn out very different, and it will turn out to be like let's say if something happened and if I didn't like it and if I think it could have been done differently, then somehow out of nowhere one day I'm gonna end up having a dream about that particular scene and how it turned out differently, and something else will happen. Like, instead of what did happen in the movie, that in this dream it'll show something else completely. And yeah, so I do get that, and I think I get those kinds of dreams is because it's just showing me, like, okay, if this had never happened in the movie, then this is what could have happened. So it's like something that maybe I think that could have happened, something I think I would have accepted more than the other part. So I think that's what it is. Now, I don't remember if it has any deleted scenes, like complete deleted scenes. That I don't know of, but when you watch the trailer, you kind of see, I think, little bits of those deleted scenes because you don't see in the movie. So, and that's what I've noticed even in the trailer. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this movie discussion video, and let me know what you think of the movie and have you seen it, and if not, then I highly recommend it and watch it. And before I go, yeah, I just want to say that I do think that this movie it does need more credit, and I do think that it needs more recognition. And yeah, I'm just putting it out there. So yeah, and to see more like this of movie content and reaction videos and dreams, then please subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment down below on what you think of the movie. So that's all for today, and I'll see you at the movies.